All right, go ahead, people. Dr. Nicole McCarty here. Y'all, I'm back. Thank you. Very much. Hey, good people. How are you? Welcome back. I am Dr. Nicole McCarty, an integrative health doctor, expert wellness strategist, homeschool mom, Black family on their expat journey. And, we recently took our scouting trip to South Africa. And we went scouting for 30 days. I'm breaking that down in a series. So for those who have been interested in or thought about relocating internationally and just didn't know where to start, hopefully this will help you. I've already started. I don't believe I posted the last video yet. Y'all, I'm still getting the hang of this YouTube thing, so y'all work with me. But yeah, so today, though, we are going to talk about kids. And listen, anyone who has littles, you already know about the chaos life, right? And you'll probably see a little bit of that in this video because, they just have no chill. Kids just have no chill. So they don't care what you're doing. You're recording? Who cares? I'm going to interrupt you anyway, Mom. Why? Because that's what I do. Really? So, anywho. But today we are going to talk about traveling internationally with kids and a whole lot of stuff. All right, so here is the skinny. Okay, so traveling internationally with kids sounds beautiful in theory. It's like, oh, they're going to get to experience so much stuff and this and that and everything. And that is true. However, so you imagine all the family adventures, the new cultures, the kids seeing the world, seeing something different than what they've seen every day. But what no one prepares you for is the moment when you're in the airport with, let's think, a stroller made for two, mind you, a stroller, a car seat, a booster seat, so like 2 car seats, or 1.5, if you will. Backpacks galore, 10 roller suitcases, snacks everywhere, 3 adults, 2 kids. Yeah. And somehow you still have to catch an international flight, follow all the rules of the airline and the bags and the weights of the bags and the numbers of the bags per person. Oh my goodness, y'all. Oh, and mind you, like this isn't our first time flying with kids. We've been flying with our kids since they were infants, both of them. So traveling is not new to them. The airport flights, they aren't new to them, but doing so internationally halfway across the world, that was an experience. It was an experience. So that might be the part that nobody prepares you for. No, nobody talks about it. Nope. They don't say a word about it. Oh, you're taking your kids? Great. And it is great. Okay. I'm going to be really, really sarcastic, y'all, but y'all know how much I love my babies. So don't get it twisted. We wouldn't have done it any other way. However, I'm still going to talk cash trash, and I'm going to tell you the truth, because if you've never done it and you're venturing out to do it, just prepare yourself. It's not impossible. No, not at all. Is it work? Yes, it's work, or it can be. And so we recently traveled across the world with our little minis. And let me tell you something, traveling internationally with kids is equal parts magical and equal parts chaotic. You have lost your mind. What in the world were you thinking? Yeah. So today I'm sharing what it's really like traveling with the little kids, the strollers, the car seats, the planes, the trains, the automobiles, everything in between. Because if you're thinking about doing this with your family, then you deserve the truth. So you can go in with eyes wide open, not closed tightly, and on a wing and a prayer. Okay, you need to go in prepared. Have your A game. Bring your A game. So All right, so first let's talk about this packing situation. And this is my fault, because they don't pack themselves, right? So before the trip even started, there was the packing. Packing for yourself is one thing. Packing for little kids, and we're not talking about teenagers, because teenagers, you darn near grown. No, little kids, that's an entire different level of strategy, y'all, because you have to think about like what happens if you've got spills, you've got accidents, you've got all kinds of things. They may always need a change of clothes. You can't have them out in the streets looking raggedy, because that's just, that's uncivilized. We can't do that for several reasons. And, so the kids, they may be small, but their stuff is not. Or their stuff is, it's just plentiful. So, and it multiplies. Yeah, it's like babies, kids. It multiplies. So we had to think about like clothes for different climates. We were going from warm. We were going from really cold, 18 degrees, to really warm, like shorts, tanks, back to really cold and snow. Yeah, it's crazy. So we had to think of clothes for different climates, clothes for extreme climates on both ends, snacks for long flights. Our children are very particular. They love their snacks, but they only love certain ones. It's partly our fault, but we try to eat as clean as possible, and we just don't feed them a lot of junk. And so because they don't eat a lot of junk, they don't like junk. So there's entertainment on the plane, and all the time in between, and then they're your comfort items, right? They're stuffies, those things, their favorite toys, their airplane bags that have all the goodies in it, which I did a video on that. The audio is kind of janky, it's warbly, it is, but it's good though. It kind of shows you like what we put in their airplane travel packs, and it worked. It worked well for. It worked well for not only the flights, but it worked well for their time away from their standard toys, and then on the flights too. So yeah. Let me see. So comfort items, extra clothes, of course, your diapers, your wipes, your sanitizing wipes, and your wipes for like their bum and their hands and all those things. Any medications, of course. When you're traveling internationally, when you have kids, you travel with meds. You travel with things for the headaches, the tummy aches, the body aches, the fever, the sniffles, the cooties, the allergies, all the things. Their headphones, okay, because the ones on the plane they're for adults. So for kids, they're going to get annoyed with them falling off. So their own set of headphones each, and then blankets. We opted not to do blankets. We thought about it, but we opted not to do that because we were layering in clothes. And then we're like, oh, they offer blankets on the plane anyway. So what would be the point, right? But you think about all of those things. All of those things. And then there's equipment. So the stroller, which we forgot on our way to the airport. So we got like 10 minutes away from the airport, which is an hour away from our house, by the way. And then had to turn around, come back, get the stroller, and then go back. Made it in time, no problem. But yeah, it cost extra money because the car service had to do 2 trips. It was not cute, but those things happen, right? So the stroller, the car seat, the booster seat. If you've ever traveled with kids, then you know something, right? There's always something. And traveling with kids means you are not just packing luggage, you are transporting an entire small ecosystem just so these little buggers, as cute as they are taken care of. And when they're taken care of, you can breathe and relax. When they're not taken care of, all heck breaks loose. And they're going to call your name 12 million times, right? And so every parent knows the feeling of standing in your living room looking at all the bags and thinking, oh my goodness, how is all of this supposed to get through an airport? Ooh, right? And so yeah, you can imagine we had that. Everything we had, oh yeah, we had those moments. I just kind of looked. I was like, oh, Father God, okay, I know you're real. You're going to help us through. And he did, right? So there's a packing. But then there's the airport arrival. So, you got the stuff out of the house into the car or the van or the bus or the whatever, the Uber, the private car service, whatever, right? You got it in the vehicle and you arrive at the airport. And somehow you got to get all this stuff inside with the strollers, with the people.
Can I have crackers?
And so, yeah, so trying to get like all the stuff inside and the people, right? Because you can't put the stuff inside and forget about the little people. Yeah. So what helped though is that we had, like, my mom was traveling with us, so oftentimes she was able to stay while we would kind of take our trips and push things inside. And then as one of us stayed with the belongings, the other person was going back and forth, and it was a lot, but we made it. Okay, so then, airports are already busy, but when you arrive with the children, everything kind of slows down and it speeds up all at the same time. So you're moving really fast, but it's just like, like you're unloading bags, you're making sure no one runs off. Because that was the first thing. I was like, nope, you go in the stroller, because no one's got time, right? You're checking, make sure you have the passports, make sure you have, all the luggage. You're doing a bag count is a real thing. I was just like, okay, boom, 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 we get this many bags. Okay, boom, 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 this many book bags. Okay, we got this equipment, and person. Okay, good. And I did that the entire trip because you have to. Otherwise, you will lose something when you have that much stuff. So, at any rate, and of course, you're traveling internationally, you're going to check and make sure you have your passports like 12 times. Because, like, without them, you're screwed, right? So, checking all the things. And, toddlers, they have a habit of just suddenly deciding that this is the perfect time to practice their independence. So they want to walk. They want to do things themselves. I want to help. I want to push. Let me help. Now it's not the time, sir. They want to walk in the opposite direction of you. Yo. And somehow you still have to navigate, right? So you got to navigate the check-in lines. You got to navigate the luggage drop. And actually with little kids, of course, you have to go through the line so they can check like their passports and everything, and boarding passes, all the things, right? All while pushing a stroller, keeping everyone together. Just traveling with kids in an airport, it requires a skill that I like to call calm chaos management. Calm chaos management, because you have to be calm. There is chaos around you, and you're trying to minimize the chaos that's going to be directly in your inner orbit and manage it all. So yeah, interesting. And then, so you make it through. You get your bags checked. You get the car seats and everything checked. Everything passes the weight, the scale of weighing, like it's less than 50 kilograms, and all those. It's real, y'all. It's real because nobody wants to pay extra money for a heavy bag. So, all the things, and invest on a luggage scale, the little handheld ones. Now, if you're a female, get a male, because if you just trying to pick something up straight, yeah. I mean, is it doable? Sure. No one's got time for that. So just word to the wise. But, if you have someone, a boo, a boyfriend, a husband, sweet thing, whatever, yeah, get them to help you. Okay? Get them to help you weigh it. So anyway, and actually, one of our bags, my mom and I had, I think, but one of our bags, it actually had the scale in it. So when you picked it up, it would turn red if it was over 50 kilograms, which was very, very cool. And came in handy. So then, after you've done all that, there's airport security. Ooh, you already know. My parents, I know y'all already saying, yep. Yeah, that airport security. Okay, so airport security with kids is an experience. Yeah, because everything you carefully packed suddenly has to come out. Now, of course, listen, we have the TSA pre-check, we have clear, we have all of the things, okay? Because we need as much help as we can get. And so that helps, right? You don't have to, well, it depends on when you travel. We're like, oh, you don't take off your shoes. Well, sometimes you do, right? So, but going through having those things does help significantly at times when there's not other foolishness happening at the airport. And so sometimes it's shoes off. I think we did have to take our shoes off on one of the trips. I think because it was cold, sorry, and people have on boots and all the things. I think maybe when it's warmer and people have on flip flops and all that stuff, maybe not as much. I don't know. I don't travel in flip flops because me and my foot in the dirty airport floor, I get grossed out. So I can't do that. but to each his own, to each his own. So anyway, you've got like your shoes off, your electronics out, especially if you have a laptop. Sometimes they'll say tablets too. It depends. Liquid separated, all the things. The kids go through the scanner. You got to not only fold up the stroller, you have to take the stroller apart, all the parts off. Not like disassemble, but like our stroller has like the frame with the wheels, and then you attach the seat, and then you can attach like the little skateboard. So we have to take it apart. All those things have to go to the side, and then you're going through the scanner. The kids have to go through the little metal detector thing. Yeah, just everything is wiped and sampled and inspected. And then, of course, now mind you, if the stroller's taken apart, where are the kids, right? So you're trying to usher these kids. Go, hey, come on. All right, take your shoes off. Okay, put this in here. Okay, all right, hold on. Don't stay here. You hold my hand. It's just a lot. And so imagine trying to hold a toddler and keep a 6-year-old focused while doing all of this, right? It's basically a full body workout. And so there was a moment where we had like bins everywhere, and you're moving fast and you're like, boom, 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 boom. Shoes, bags, snacks, all the things. And I thought to myself, we might actually live in this security line right now. Real talk, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but all we need is a kitchen sink. We'll be good. This might just be our permanent residence with all the things. But we made it. We made it through security. Yes. And then we get to the gate. You get to breathe for a minute. But you still have to figure out what to do with the stroller. And then it's about boarding the plane, right? And so now airlines usually say something like this. Families with small children may board early, right? And that sounds so helpful. And it is. It very much so is. If you're watching this and you've ever been a person who's just like, why do they need to board early? I encourage you, travel with a parent of little kids. You will never ask that question ever again in life, okay? You won't ask because you will know you will have experienced the chaos, right? So, they make this announcement and, you realize that your kids now have to sit on the plane longer. Now, for some people, that might be problematic. Thankfully, for our littles, that's not the case. They did very well. They're, like I said, they're used to airline travel, so that's not something that we per se think about. However, we were on the plane with a couple parents who I'm sure that thought crossed their mind. And I think it was the same kid that was acting a donkey before we boarded the plane. I'm pretty sure that's the same one who screamed for, I promise you, it felt like 8 hours. I was just like, dude, y'all walk him up and down his aisle, please. What are we doing? I digress. Y'all. And they sat right behind me. I was like, oh my gosh. EJ said, it's so loud, I can't sleep. I know, baby. I know. So I get it. And and if you know that your child doesn't do well on airline travel, you got to go the extra mile for for the sake of everybody else on the plane. Because mind you, let me tell you, our first leg was 14 and a half hours. You heard me, 14 and a half hours. Screaming was for at least half of it. That's a lot, okay? That's a lot.
I'm watching Paw Patrol.
Well, then you should go watch Paw Patrol.
And
What, you want to say hi? Here, okay. All right. All right, go ahead. And so if you've ever gotten on the plane with little kids, like you're trying to walk behind them because they can't walk behind you. So they're in front of you, like, okay, go ahead, keep going. Okay, keep walking. And they get distracted. Squirrel, look at that. Oh, look at that. I was like, nope, keep walking. Keep going. So you've got that. You've got the proverbial struggle with the seat belts. Either they're going to play with the seatbelts or they don't want to be in the seatbelts. And then you got to organize the snacks and make sure you have the wipes handy. Okay, Bricky. Okay, thank you. Stop before you hit your head on the table. You organize the wipes, and you got to set up activities and get the headphones ready and explain like why they can't push every button on the screen and on the seat. You get things settled on one and they just want to pop. Just, yeah. Meanwhile, okay, other passengers are boarding and stepping around you and trying to get everyone settled. And I'm going to tell you, this is where you can see the ugly side of humanity. I don't think we've had any experiences where we have, though, because you see the beautiful side of humanity too. You know, like we couldn't figure out how to work something, and one of the people behind us, they were like, it's right there. And I was like, oh, thank you. You know, or they wave and they make, have a conversation with your kids, and they're kind, they understand, so that's helpful. But here's what I will tell you. Flying with kids requires 3 essential tools. 3. 1, 2, 3. First one is snacks. Keep them with snacks, okay? Now, we flew Etihad and Qatar. And both of them were exquisite flying experiences. Oh, they were wonderful. The food was banging, okay? On Qatar, I think I pronounced it right the second time. They serve the kids first, which was really, really nice because you get to like help the kids eat and get them squared away. And then when your food comes, they're good and you can enjoy your meal. And I was like, oh, it's the little things. It's so nice. So we really enjoyed that. So you need snacks. You need a boatload of patience. And then lower your expectations. Like, they're not statues, they're kids. This is a new experience. They're excited. And even if they've done it before, it's still new. Because every time you're going to see something different. Every time the experience may be a little different. Shoot, every time we fly, the experience has been different. So, so lower your expectations and have a good time, right? So make sure you check. And I didn't document the airport experience because the last thing I was thinking in my mind is, hey, let me grab footage. No, I was trying to survive, make sure we didn't leave anything. But on the flight, I did grab some footage, and so I think I do have a flight video, an airplane video, or what have you. So make sure you check that out. It'll I kind of give a whole review of like what the flight was like and all that stuff. But it was really nice. It was nice. It was good, and I tried to include some things that I was looking for when I was planning this. So I tried to include information that I was kind of looking for and information other parents might find valuable. So make sure you check this out. It's on the playlist, the South Africa playlist. I will likely create a playlist with traveling with kids and all that stuff. I don't know, but we'll see. So at any rate, so we're on the flight. We have the flight. Long flights with kids can go in 2 directions. Sometimes kids are amazing travelers. like amazing. They watch the movies, they eat the snacks, they fall asleep, they're good. And then other times, like the story I told you, their little bodies are confused, okay? Different time zones, different sleep schedules, different environments. They don't know what to do. And suddenly you're trying to explain like why you may not be able to run up and down the aisle at 3 a.m. in the morning in the air. Thankfully, let me see. Well, our kids didn't do this. But you know what? I guess it depends on who you are. Like, I think parents, we tend to have a soft spot, so we understand because either we have lived it or we are living it at the same time. Because on our flight back, there was a little itty bitty something. I don't know, maybe might have been like 18 months. I don't know. And he just walked. He just walked. He would walk walk to my chair, put his hand on my leg. He was like, hi. I said, hi. But he would walk back and forth. He kind of like moved like within like a 2-chair radius, I guess, if you will. But he was fine. And then he would walk up to the front by the bathrooms and he would walk back to the seat where his parents were. And it was fine, you know, and eventually like his dad, you know, they had him and then I think they had a little baby. And so his dad had both of them. And so he went and stood kind of by the wing, by the door or the wing door or whatever, and, you know, held them and kind of comforted them or whatever. But he was fine. So I think you just have to go into flights, whether you have children or not. I think it's helpful for people to go into flights like that with a little bit of patience, with more patience, with understanding, with some humanity, and with some grace, okay? Because traveling with little kids is not for the weak. It's just not. So, so in those moments, you know, you realize that kids notice everything, right? They notice the plane and the clouds and the languages that are different, the different languages that may be spoken, the people. And to them, it's an adventure, you know? And so for you, it might be ho-hum business as usual, but for the littles, this is an adventure. It's what they've seen on their cartoons and seen on their kid shows, and they're getting to live it and experience it. And so I think that's worth giving credence to. I think that's worth a pause to say, hey, you know, sometimes it's okay, even for us adults, to experience the adventure with them, whether you're attached to the family or not, you know. And then, you know, once they get off the flight, depending on what your setup was. Now, you know, for us, we had transportation waiting for us at the airport. So it's just like one kind of transfer. But then there were other parts of our trip where we did planes, we did trains, we did planes, trains, and automobiles, okay? And, you know, ferries, and they had a huge transportation lesson, which was wonderful, right? And so landing in a new country, it doesn't always mean the travel is over. Sometimes it's just the beginning, you know? And so even transportation can look differently depending on where you are. So now you have to navigate, you know, maybe trains, maybe taxis, maybe long airport corridors and people movers and escalators and elevators and luggage carts and very tired children. And this is where the stroller becomes both a blessing and like a logistics puzzle, because sometimes you're carrying the child, the stroller, the bag. You're trying to keep everything moving at the same time. Again, because my mom was there, that was a huge blessing. You know, but regardless, like family travel requires teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And sometimes a sense of humor, because, you know, sometimes you just got to look around and just shake your head and be like, ooh, child, keep it moving. You know, but then these are all logistical problems, or not problems, but logistical perspectives. But then there's an emotional side of traveling with kids that as a parent, it touches you, you know. because in the midst of all the chaos, something beautiful happens at the same time. Kids see the world differently. They look through a different set of lenses, and they notice things that adults overlook, and think about it, like their whole perspective is different, whether they're in their stroller or whatever, or even if they're being carried, their whole perspective is very different than ours. And so, they'll notice like a bird outside of the airport, or a new language, or a different food, or different music, or anything, different insects. Travel reminds you how curious children are, and the beauty in their curiosity, and how powerful it is for them to experience the world beyond their everyday environment, because they learn so much. They learn so much. And so yes, traveling with kids is challenging. Absolutely. There are hefty bags, there are long flights, there are tired moments, overtired moments, y'all. An overtired toddler, an overtired 3-year-old, yo. Yeah, tired moments for everybody, tired moments around. But there's also something deeply meaningful about showing your children the world, right? Showing them different cultures, showing them different people, different perspectives. And travel teaches children something powerful, that the world is big. It's big and it's beautiful, and people live differently, and our differences are what make us special. And there's so much beauty in those differences, And one day our kids may not remember the airport chaos. They don't necessarily see it as chaos, because they play airport at home all the time with daddy, and he does a really good job of teaching them. So it's a learning experience for them. They are not just idly just riding. They are paying attention because he's honed in on certain things. He's honed in on the particulars, So again, as homeschool parents, everything's a lesson, right? We don't miss the opportunity. And so, while they may not remember the airport chaos as we recall it, or the security lines, or the long flights, they will remember that their parents showed them the world and allowed them the freedom to do so. And, I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that, because my mom did that for me, and so I'm thankful that I'm able to give that gift to, our kids. So if you're thinking about traveling internationally with your kids, if you're on the fence, if you're on the cusp and you're like, oh, I just don't know, it'd be so much easier if we didn't. It would be. It would be. I'm not gonna lie to you. It would be way easier. But I think you'd miss something. And so I would say, do it. Plan it, prepare, get your mind right. Bring the snacks, bring all the things. Expect a little chaos. Yeah, don't go into it thinking, oh, it's going to be great. Don't even go into it thinking it's going to be just like it is when we fly domestically, because it's different. And maybe it's different because of, I don't know, our experience is different. I'll just say that. And let go of perfection. Let go of perfection. Things are going to happen, okay? You can't plan for them all, but they are going to happen. And, that's the beauty of it, because family adventures are rarely perfect, but they are always, always, always worth it. So if you've ever traveled with kids, tell me, what was the hardest part? I want to know. What was the hardest part? Was it the airport? Was it the flight? Was it the packing? Tell me in the comments. I still have packing videos that I'm going to post. I just haven't posted them yet. And if you're following our journey as we explore life abroad, and we take this journey to becoming expats and what that might look like for raising our family internationally, make sure you subscribe, because this adventure is just getting started. And, we're having a ball sharing. Our ultimate desire, though, is that we're able to help others who don't know. Help others who have the same questions that we had. Help others who are in the beginning stages and kind of feel overwhelmed and they don't really know what to do. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, share. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your experiences, all the things. And make sure you stay tuned. We're going to talk about more about the scouting trip. I think the video that I'm posting next is how you should plan the scouting trip. And then the one after that, I think are the numbers. That may not be right, but just stay tuned, okay? So anyway, love you much, and I will see you soon. Love and blessings. Toodles.